કોરિડોરમાં પહેલો ઝોન છે IRDC
આવ્યા છે.
હા હા पहले कॉरिडोर
ભરત બીજી ભાઈ આવવાનો તો ભરત નથી આવ્યો ચેમ્બરમાં બીજી મીટિંગ MSME પાસે ट्रेन वालों से अगर विजय मैंने बेहतर की
शुरू तो करना है क्या हम बताएं
ना ये और प्लास्टिक उद्योग ना है
नहीं खाने पर भी हम तीन ही लेंगे
और ये विजय नहीं आता है
तीन लोग
वो तो हर बात है बाकी हम तो नहीं चलेंगे
पहले फिर सवाल जो है वो एक और करा रहे हैं दो लोगों का ऑनलाइन जो है बात कर रहे हैं
प्लास्टिक also Indian plastic
आज
बोले क्या है
कहा यहाँ पे वेरी हाई पावर कमिटी है दे आर सिटिंग इन जिला चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स तो कहीं के लोग हैं इट इज क्लैशिंग 12 बजे से दुबई
प्लीज
अपने भारत में
नमस्कार आप इसमें
इसमें के ये करता रहता है और मजू भाई बगासिया जो है ये लघु उद्योग भारती में
RSS का सेक्रेटरी उसका मैं
नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट है रह चुके हैं
अभी सेंट्रल इंडिया का प्रभारी दो स्टेट
तो
लघु उद्योग भारती के बहुत सारे लोग हमारे बोर्ड कर रहे हैं
हाँ तो लघु उद्योग भारती वाले हैं उनको मैंने कहा तो ये भी
अभी भी बोर्ड ऑफ ट्रेड
इसमें से बता रहे हैं जो रशियन से अलग अलग वेंचर में आते थे फिर सब जगह विजिट करते थे हमारे पास आता था हमारे पास आता था लघु उद्योग महामंडल भारतीय बगल में करते थे बगल में पढ़े दोनों साल में ही थे बगल में लघु उद्योग महामंडल का वाइस प्रेसिडेंट था प्रेसिडेंट थे लेकिन याद नहीं गलत नहीं याद नहीं तो मुझे आवश्यकता है मेरी भी मैं मानता हूं कि बेगल लाइन का बेगल लाइन टेबल मोमो टेबल हमारे मीटिंग है और इंडिया का सेक्रेटरी प्रोवाइड वो मोटी मीटिंग है समझ में बहुत दिक्कत हुई है पूरा परिणाम आएगा कैसे आएगा हमें लगा तो करवा है पूछे आप बहुत खास पूछा ये पूरी का सावले પછી મેં प्रशासन करते लोग रजिस्ट्रेशन करते बेबी वालों को करने की जरूरत है बाकी कुछ इन खाली करते हैं 50% बाकी आवाज क्या कर रहा है हां
ओके
हमने प्रोग्राम विजय का जो कई बता रहे हैं
Are we audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah, perfect. We are speaking to one more person.
Sir? Oh, hello. गुप्ता जी आ गए सर और ये हीरो महादेवी है
Sir, one more dignitary from Plastic Association has come.
Ah.
He is just coming by.
Okay, so where is our Vijay bhai?
Vijay Bhai, he is the Vice President of GSP.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद गुरु जी, आप आ गए।
हाँ सर, अनार आपने बुलाया था।
ऐसे चाहिए सर।
नहीं, शिल्पी जो है is the main financing now. सर, और भारद्वाज जी जो हैं सर, ऑफिस में ये और बहुत वर्षों से काम कर रहे हैं।
विजय भाई आओ।
विजय भाई, आओ।
आओ, नहीं किधर से मैं विजय भाई आ गया।
विजय भाई,
हमने मैं भी विजय भाई तो ठेका लोगे तो ऐसे लाया है इधर ना लेकिन टाइम
विजय
को
भाई,
छोड़
हाँ, please।
क्या बस हम बेसो हम बेसो
नहीं, आप
आ गई है
आओ।
अंकल बेसो तो बहुत है
बस
हमें बेसो।
बढ़िया।
अरे वो छू डिस्कस करना छू।
ये तो है।
साथ से
नहीं, पूरा
आओ।
मौजूद है।
आई एम गुड बाय
बहुत अच्छा।
एबीपी इंडिया
रवि जो क्रांति के जो है फॉर्मल पे अच्छा सर आपको बताएं
राष्ट्रीय उद्योग क्षेत्र कितना हो तो विजय भाई देखो दोनों में
So good afternoon and namaste to all of you. My name is Arvind. I am Secretary General of the Federation of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. See, today's session is extremely important in the sense that for the last 30 years or so, India has been trying to increase the contribution of manufacturing in GDP from 15-16%. And globally, this is a lesson or you can say a fact that no country has become rich country or a developed country without manufacturing taking its very important place in GDP contribution. So during the UPA government, they tried their best. They set up manufacturing competitiveness commission also, with the cabinet minister and officials heading it, and they tried whatever was possible. Then, as you know, Modi ji came to power in 2015, and then we have made in India. We made many strides. Recently, we had PLI scheme also. But we have barely been able to move the needle from 15, 16 to 17%. But our target is at least 25%. So the question that is there before the policymakers is why the needle is not moving? Why we have not been able to make strides in manufacturing?
कैपेसिटी ले सकता हूँ मुझे 5 साल के लिए चाहिए अभी आईटी सेक्टर में तो इट इज लीज ओनली बट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में लीज इज बीइंग ऑफर्ड तो वो भी हम डिस्कस करेंगे तो ब्रॉडली देयर आर 2-3 फैक्टर्स वर्किंग अर्बन डेवलपमेंट के जो है टीपी स्कीम का मैकेनिज्म है दैट इज आल्सो प्लेइंग अ क्रिटिकल रोल ओवर हियर एंड द लैंड प्राइस ऑफ औड़ा के अंदर के लैंड प्राइस और औड़ा के बाहर के लैंड प्राइस
डबल डिफरेंस है बहुत डबल डिफरेंस है
तो वो ही क्योंकि भारद्वाज साहब will go out and will be involved in making policy at that time we should remember के ये क्लस्टर बनाना है तो किस तरह से कौन उधर जाएगा अभी आउटसाइड ऑल्सो विजय भाई will elaborate के बाहर अगर आप जाते हो तो ये छोटे वाले यूनिट्स बहुत ज्यादा ओनली अगर एक बड़ा यूनिट है और आपको उसको चाहिए उसके सपोर्ट यूनिट्स देन ओनली सम एंसिलरी रियलाइजेशन में के लिए द स्मॉल यूनिट्स आर द बेस्ट अल्टरनेटिव प्रेफरेबली ऑन रेंटल तो बीच में इफ यू कुड एलाबोरेट on this like this incentives by government any product that CB has to support developer or the individual unit takers. Incidentally, 2015 policy में if you are making these sheds 50 to 100 meters and if you are renting it, then you are getting some subsidy in terms of per month rent from government. But in 2020 policy this has been taken away. So you are talking about only sale to the MSME units.
Come back to it. Bhai, you have been associated with the small industry. for
Also
long
business,
time.
also business. I am associated with
Long time.
many meetings we have done with the business.
तो अभी आपको कितना लगता है कितना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि छोटा जो नया एंटरप्रेन्योर आता है और वो नया यूनिट लगाने चाहता है, उसके पास में 1 करोड़ रुपया है या घर से उसके फ्रेंड से 2 करोड़ रुपया इकट्ठा किया है, तो 2 करोड़ में तो अभी कहीं इंस्टॉलमेंट मिलता ही नहीं। मशीन मिल जाएगा 1 करोड़ का 2 करोड़ का, लेकिन जगह नहीं, तो बिना जगह के काम कैसे शुरू करूं? तो अभी ये कितनी समस्या आपके सामने आ रही है?
पारमार जी आपने बहुत सही कहा और ये भी माधव जी जो कहा वो भी बहुत सही है। ये जो प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट मतलब प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क वो पॉलिसी नहीं थी, वो हमने रखी कि वो प्राइवेट ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि जो बिल्कुल जीआईडीसी के कंपटीशन में होनी चाहिए। Why people are not going in private industrial park? Why more people are going in GIDC? I am explaining to many our entrepreneurs with GIDC is a lease land and industrial park is a ownership land. Same benefits are given in the private park also. Why you are insisting for GIDC? मगर लोगों के माइंड में एक मेनिया है कि ये गवर्नमेंट का है तो हमें बहुत कुछ मदद मिल जाएगी, हम प्राइवेट लैंड में ये होगा वो नहीं। प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क इज विद ऑल एमिनिटीज, ऑल परमिशन, ऑल लाइसेंस आर टेकन, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट इज डन। तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए 25% सब्सिडी भी हुआ है, मगर साहब ने भी बोला माधव जी ने तो मिलती नहीं है। तो क्यों मिलती नहीं वो मेरा क्वेश्चन है। आई एम बीइंग ए लघु भारती, इट इज माय क्वेश्चन कि व्हाई इट इज नॉट गिवन, हाउ इट इज नॉट रिसीव्ड, दैट इज अ पॉइंट।
इसमें ऐसा है कि वो लोग हमने 2 दिन पहले ही डिस्कस किया था। मैं प्रैक्टिकली हर एक डेवलपर को ईस्टर्न साइड में मिल चुका हूँ। आफ्टर कोविड वी वेंट साइड टू साइड, दे ऑल सेड कि अभी हमको सब्सिडी में हम नहीं पड़ेंगे, हम ये डेवलप करेंगे, ये बेचेंगे, पर सब्सिडी में।
प्राइवेट डेवलपर को मैंने कम से कम 10 डेवलपर को डेवलप ऑलरेडी किया है, उसको भी नहीं मिलती है। तो मुझे सर्च ये करना है,
ऑलरेडी 2 फाइल रखे हुए हैं,
इन्होंने कम से कम 10 और 12 स्टेट को इसने बनाया है।
एक
मैंने तो भावनगर में भी किया है।
ये एक सवाल हो गया कि जबकि इंसेंटिव है लेकिन उसको इंसेंटिव को ले नहीं पा रहे हैं।
ले नहीं पा रहे हैं, बिल दे रहा है या कुछ भी है।
हाँ, मतलब ले
वोट
अल्टीमेटली तो ले नहीं पा रहे हैं, और यदि ले नहीं पा रहे हैं तो उसका जो कॉस्ट कम करने का एक टूल था जिसमें इंसेंटिव, वो उसका यूटिलाइज
नहीं। सब कोस्ट तो कॉम्पिटिटिव है, जीआईडीसी और हमारी कोस्ट प्राइवेट की कोस्ट ज्यादा नहीं है। मध्य जी आप क्या कहते हो?
नहीं कोस्ट में कोई ज्यादा फर्क नहीं है।
बाद में आएंगे। तो अभी कहने का मतलब है कि एक तो प्राइवेट डेवलपर को जो इंसेंटिव है वो ऑन पेपर तो है लेकिन वो रियलाइज नहीं हो रहा। तो उस पर ये देखना चाहिए हमें कि वो क्या दिक्कत है कि नहीं मिल रहा। यदि वो मिल जाए तो लैंड शायद और ज्यादा अफोर्डेबल है। आपका भी
वही बता रहे हैं
ये डेवलपर है,
मिल भी जाएंगी ना, वो भी वो फॉरवर्ड कस्टमर के पास नहीं जाएगी, मेरे जैसे बिल्डर लोग के हाथ में ही रहेगी। तो इसमें कंपटीशन आएगी तब जाके वो पहली बात उसकी है। और इसके अलावा आपका जो नॉर्म्स है कि भाई सब्सिडी लेने के लिए जो बड़ा एस्टेट में जाएंगे तो 50 एकड़ का मेरे ख्याल से आज के डेट में है, 50 एकड़ एक साथ में मेरे को रखना पड़ता है। तो फार्मर से एक्वाइजेशन जब करते हैं तो वहाँ से एक साथ में 50 एकड़ नहीं मिलती, एक क्रम के साथ मिलती है
और छोटी छोटी
कलेक्ट के साथ मिलती है। तो मैं इसके 50 एकड़ एक साथ में लेके मैं रखूंगा तो बहुत दिक्कत आ रही है और टाइम भी बहुत ज्यादा जा रहा है।
तो दिक्कत हुई है। तो अभी
तो बेसिक इशू ये आया कि गवर्नमेंट एक्वायर करके छोटे छोटे लोग का कॉम्बो बना के वो प्राइवेट को दे।
ठीक है,
एक वो भी है। दूसरा हमारे वहाँ से सजेशन ये भी दे सकते हैं, जिससे सिटी में हमारे वहाँ पे मैंने 2 सेमिनार रखा हुआ है मेरा प्राइवेट एस्टेट में, शायद आपको पता है कि नहीं पता नहीं है। वहाँ से अभी मेरा जो भी कस्टमर है 20-25 के आसपास प्रोजेक्ट लोन सिटी में ही करते हैं, वो वहाँ से अच्छा है। लेकिन जब परचेज करने बैठते हैं ना तो वहाँ पे कुछ नहीं मिलता उसको। जो इंडस्ट्री डालने लोग आते हैं वहाँ पे तो उसको डायरेक्ट फॉरवर्ड करो, बिल्डर को मत करो, ऐसा हमारा सजेशन है।
ठीक है, तो अभी काम करते हैं कि सुजान जी हैं मेरे ख्याल से, तो यदि आप थोड़ा अपना प्रेजेंटेशन लोड करके करते हैं उसके बाद डिस्कशन करना चाहेंगे।
See,
जिसको entrepreneur है,
मैं एक चीज कि the idea to have such policy is to make अभी GIDC का infrastructure is really state of art infrastructure. You have all the MNCs at Sanand. There are RCC roads, which are the same type of infrastructure is being
प्रेजेंटेशन
developed,
को लोड करा
is being developed by
इस
the private
तो
developers.
सर पहले प्रेजेंटेशन
हाँ,
देखते हैं,
sure.
फिर डिस्कशन करेंगे दोबारा।
Sir, very good afternoon to all. And the already interesting discussion has already started. In fact, my presentation looks like a pause in the discussion, but I'll tell you how my entire presentation will enhance our overall discussion. There are a few points which I am sharing with you all. Primarily from the perspective of the MSME sector, which we are all discussing about. सबसे पहला बात हमने डिस्कस किया है कि जो हमारे पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं और हमारे इंडस्ट्रियल एस्टेट्स हैं, ये जो हमारे की रोल प्लेयर्स हैं, these are the people who are shaping the entire segment. And the power of MSMEs have already acknowledged. हमने पहले ही इसको समझ लिया है कि MSMEs है, फ्यूचर है, इनसे driven ही जो इंडिया का नेक्स्ट ग्रोथ वेव है वो आने वाला है. जितने भी हमारे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट हैं, जितने भी हमारे लैंड डेवलपर्स हैं, they all acknowledge this. However, there are some key changes that we have acknowledged or we have discussed about. Like sir said that there are greater land MSMEs in all state parks. जितने भी स्टेट इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क्स हैं across the country, they have started allocating specific land portions for MSMEs, particularly making it highly incentivized. Cost is very effective. This also led to multiple national, international funds coming in. They have started playing the part in the plug and play model because in India, dhanda is very simple. They put the money in, take the money out. Put the money in, take the money out. So as far as land is concerned, also the idea is very simple. मैंने land में आज invest किया है, right? Even as a developer or an investor. So my thought process is that when I sell it, my money should come out eventually, right? तो ये plug and play model actually इंडिया में किसी को समझ में आता ही नहीं है. That's the biggest gap. कि कब तक वेट करूँ, कि इसको 2 साल, 4 साल, 10 साल तो किसी का दिमाग में बैठ भी नहीं है, 10 साल के बाद कौन रहेगा करके भी क्वेश्चन रहता है, right? So that is the big gap. These international players are coming in and now playing, right? So the Ascendas and the indoor spaces of the world are now playing their part in, and of course a lot of Indian national institutions have also started playing their part in this. For example, the Pragati Group has been playing effectively, where they are now buying the land on their books and then leasing out, right? However, the gap which we will eventually discuss is that the cost to benefit ratio for all land developers or investors, because in India, a majority of people are still looking land as an investment asset or an asset class per se, right? As compared to any other form. The good thing is, हमने जैसे डिस्कस किया कि इसको बोलते हैं फिक्स्ड एसेट इनकम, right? Which what we are discussing about. So that has been unlocked because of the OPEX model, month-on-month rent, year-on-year lease, payment of the lease will happen. And there's also the other model of scale of long-term lease where once you pay in, you get out. So long-term leasing has happened and private players have started becoming integral part of the entire system. But sir, simple सा बात है जो हमने discuss किया कि how much ever we tried, right? Over the last decade, the MSME wave has reshaped the landscape. Now, the challenge is that land is expensive. Affordable land is not serviceable, legal issues are there, multiple clearances have to be done. Auctions are highly biased towards a few certain group of people. Land banks look very good on Google Map when someone has an entire thing, but how much of that land is actually available for the usage of the next generation entrepreneurs, the next generation family businesses for that matter. In fact, when sirs were mentioning that how do we make it more lucrative, how do we incentivize? My question to all of them was, but did you ask the next generation of all those family businesses if they want to get into business? And then also the business of manufacturing. क्योंकि किसी का भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बोलते क्या रहते हैं, सुबह फैक्ट्री जाऊंगा, रात को फैक्ट्री से आऊंगा. और अगर ये प्रोसेस से अगर हम कोई भी सिस्टम चलाएंगे, तो क्या नेक्स्ट जनरेशन रेडी है इस थॉट प्रोसेस से अलाइन होने के लिए? That's a bigger question to ask than to even talk about incentives or what the government can play a particular role in it. However, since we're looking at land as a thing, one of the biggest reasons why next generation doesn't want to get into land, and I'm not talking just myself, you can talk to anyone in the next generation, land is hassle, land is legal compliances, land is legal issues. The mental block of land itself is, अगर ले गया और कल फंस गया तो डॉट. So that is the problem that we also have to address in this entire thing, because if land is not giving certainty, then it is not usable land. That is the primary takeaway from this conversation. In fact, like what Biju sir was saying, that the land is similar only. Price में हमारा इतना competitive as an industrial player, as a private player. But the thing is, अगर government land दे रही है, तो from this date to minus 100 years, 200 years, whatever the legal is, nobody is bothered about it. Because अभी government ने land मुझे दिया है, तो अभी land मेरा हो गया. But private developer ने क्या है, परसों कोई उठ के आएगा बोलेगा, सर ये जमीन तो actually मेरी है, but आपने मेरे भाई से खरीदी है, तो ये जमीन पर dispute है और जमीन मुझे वापस चाहिए. तो वो प्राइवेट पे रिस्क ले रहता है, कोई भी मैन्युफैक्चर रिस्क ले रहता है, राइट? दैट इज व्हाई पीपल प्रेफर गवर्नमेंट लैंड्स ओवर प्राइवेट लैंड्स फॉर मतलब इवन दो प्राइवेट लैंड्स आर मोर एफिशिएंट, प्राइवेट लैंड्स आर मोस्ट कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव आल्सो. गवर्नमेंट लैंड्स have, because the government has to buy at a 3x price of the guideline value because of the land regulation, the land laws. However, the private player is very, very efficient, very, very cost effective, very, very thoughtful when they are looking at the land from a investment perspective or from a business perspective. Natural land is mostly more technically cost-effective, but the government land is more expensive. There is a lot more red tape, a lot more bureaucracy in the entire process. Yet there is a few reasons why the government people are preferring this. Now this slide is the most important slide in my presentation. You can say all of that, whether everyone's attention was there till now or not. This is the entire process that everything in land acquisition primarily goes through, right? Due diligence, legal compliance, to be negotiation there, financial planning and risk mitigation, government is licensing and document process. Now this all the players at the cost to land. Land can be bought at a cheaper price also close to the city, far from the city. But जब तक ये पूरा process करूँगा ना, मेरे land का जो भाव मैंने खरीदा था और जिस भाव में मुझे बेचना है, the price at which I am selling, whether to an MSME or a large scale industry, the pricing will all become uniform throughout the entire system. And this is primarily because of these players need to work very due diligently. And the biggest thing that we need to understand is even though process has been there is single system, there is various forms of government technology coming into play, right? The sheer lack of clarity in the timelines, कि अगर मैं आज एक प्रोसेस फॉलो कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरा पैसा 6 महीने में छूटेगा, 6 साल में छूटेगा या छूटेगा ही नहीं. ये lack of clarity makes all the people to increase the prices on various levels or various levers. So this becomes a very important part, and that is where probably land aggregators or industrial distributors like us come, where we are splitting the title of generation from district to district, doing a lot of research. In fact, yesterday I was mentioning in the cohort that there is one $1 billion company from Germany who had purchased land with us, and their main point was that for 3 years they were searching for a land which had clear legal title, which was cost effective, pricing also had to match everything. And for 3 years they were not able to find the land, and eventually it came back to us, a private player, and in record time, in 30 days, their entire project was complete, and they started building the asset as well, right? So that is the gap that we are discussing today about, and why plug and play seems to be the way forward. However, these are some of the challenges that we have identified, most of which will be discussed, have been discussed, and the gap here is particularly from perspective that how do we increase the ROIs? All those are involved. Whether it is someone who's setting up the manufacturing unit, or someone who is invested in the land, or someone who is an aggregator of all these plays, right? So, and the idea is very simple. This is that I am answerable to my investor. I have to keep my EBITDA, my PATs aligned. So how do we go through all these hurdles at the same time still be profitable in the entire conversation? So our recommendation is literally started moving away from the process itself and more towards recognizing that industrial land application has to be looked at infrastructure itself, right? Because priority lending, long-term capital, lower cost of funds will be eventually something that the MSMEs will benefit out of. And primarily because it's not that people are not interested in giving these to their customers, then even we are also having a certain margin in hand and they are planning. So naturally, when our cost reduce, it is in our competitive interest to rotate our money faster. We will reduce all the costs, right? That is what we are seeing or what we are noticing as compared to what has been discussed on the panel. And in the last 2 points, there is a big national industrial exchange where we can discuss lands, and the direct exchange can happen through some mediation or through a process where the due diligence and all of that is already taken care of while that land is being, or that parcel is being put on their exchange very, very critically. But another key thing that we thought we should be putting to discussion is that how about licensing land aggregators so that more professionalism and transparency is created. Like how there are SEBI and there are other regulators across the country, there can be specific regulators for the land aggregation itself, which controls pricing, brings more transparency, they increases the certainty. And since the number of players who are now looking at land itself is limited, or particular size, because land ceiling also is a gap in our country that we have yet to discuss. So maybe a trusted developer certification or a licensed aggregator can bring greater food development opportunity, and then also allow infrastructure institutions like SIDBI and the SIDCOs and the BIDC to actively play more cohesively their role in their thing. So this was primarily what we wanted to share at Land and Infra. We are one of the largest players as far as land aggregation is concerned in the south region, especially in Chennai and suburban areas. So very happy to have shared these points with you and open to any discussion here.
Thank you. I think it was great. Very professional. Now, you have also raised and captured many issues, but I have two particular issues on which I think I would like to bring in Mr. Naresh from SIDBI. One is that naturally you could see, and that's why I asked you a little late, because I wanted you to first pick that what are the problems. So now you can see that there are certain structural issues which are holding efficient functioning of Parliament. Now one issue is that of the trust, that a private land operator is there and the government land is there, and there are issues of trust with the private land. Second is that if a private land developer is there, then the whole process takes a lot of time, and the uncertainties are there because you don't know that how much time it will take from acquisition stage, completion of acquisition itself, and then finally to be able to come to a state when you are ready to sell it as plots. So, do you see any role for SIDBI? I know that SIDBI is sort of shifting its gear from purely a development institution to now a commercial institution also. But certainly there is a room for balancing, and till there is D there in SIDBI, will continue to be after you and see that whether it can play the development role. So it may be bringing in the trust and maybe helping compress the whole process so that it becomes more efficient.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. It's topic is very, very interesting, very, you can say, for SIDBI is, you all are aware, is connected with the MSMEs only. MSME is basically the backbone of the Indian economy. We have heard from him, other panelists, the contribution that MSMEs are doing right now. You talked about straightway coming to the land part. See, when we in SIDBI look for a particular project, our role also starts from the land owner. Whether you have got your land in place or you want to acquire this land out of the project cost that you have given to us. So that is one thing, that first step is there. If he says that I'm not having any land with me, I'm not going in for the construction of the building and all that, I'll be acquiring a lease accommodation wherein I'm going to set up my unit. Then that's altogether a different ballgame. So in case if he says that I'll be having the land, or I am having the land, I have already acquired, or I have inherited from my parents, whatever be the case. So that in that case, again 2-3 things comes. Whether that land is freehold land or it is a government or leasehold. That's the way they were talking, private estate and GIDC. So these are the two things then again will come into picture. Because if we'll be financing, in case of freehold land, we have no problem at all giving go ahead straight away. As far as GIDC land is concerned, we will be requiring lot of this NOCs from GIDC and the connected party. So land for funding the project costs with land is possible from SIDBI side, will be there to support the project. If he says, I require 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore for acquiring the land also. And then basic other requirements like construction of building, machinery, MFS, even margin money for working capital as such also from SIDBI side. Will be giving him all sorts of financial assistance. You will be interested to know that in Haryana we have one scheme wherein we have given the financial assistance to the MSMEs, those who have plans to set up their units in the next 3 years, but they want to acquire the plot in first phase, but it depends whether they will going to set up the unit within 3 years or not, it depends upon them, but we can simply fund that particular plot and they can then get the assistance from SIDBI also. Otherwise, SIDBI's role is altogether, if you can ask me today, we will be asking anyone coming to us whether you are a registered MSME or not. You are talking about that today, we have got over 7 crore of MSMEs, registered MSMEs. So if anyone coming to us will be first step that whether you are a registered MSME or not. So that is starts from there only. We will be seeing that yes, this is MSME, falls into our category. If they are into law, then we will not be able to support that particular entity. Developing this interest about the land, since I have worked in UP also, what I have observed in UP vis-a-vis Gujarat, there is a vast difference between the two states.
Yeah, very right. Religious part is working in all of India. Yeah.
UP, if you will, UPC, sir has talked about MSME CDP products. This is a central government product. We have also CDP, those who have already established track record with us, up to 5 crore they can get assistance without, in principle sanction, without even visiting the branch also. So that kind of this digitization is happening at our end. And if any project is not getting fit into that kind of mode, they can, we also come to know that this particular sanction has not been given to him, and we then in turn get in touch with them. What was the basic requirement that was missing, because of which this project could not go through, but we will be manually processing this application and giving you the assistance. So that kind of communication that we keep with our entrepreneurs. And we since in Gujarat right now, if you talk about Gujarat, we have got 2 regional offices, one at Ahmedabad and another is at Rajkot. Rajkot only last year we have opened. Because of the strength or because of the potential this state has got.
Yeah.
See, we have got around 135 branches across the country, and our direct finance portfolio is around 32,000 crore. Because we were set up, when we were set up in 1990, our role was only to supplement the efforts of other primary lending institutions like banks, SFCs, SIDCs and all that. We used to refinance only, that was the role only. But over a period of time, government of India has given us this mandate, you have to go to the field also. You have to check their pulse also, what are the difficulties, challenges they are facing, and then come to us, give us the feed, and then we can devise the policy accordingly to the benefit of the MSMEs. That was the role, and over a period of time, we have already got 135 branches across the country. 14 branches we have got in Ahmedabad region, and there are 5 branches at Rajkot region, and these almost 19 branches are contributing around 25% of our total portfolio of direct funds. You can imagine the potential that our state possesses. We are number 1 in terms of our contribution to our bank or to institution. So always we are keen. We have got 5 branches at Ahmedabad located at different industrial zone like Changodar, Vatva, Oda, Naroda and Ashram Road, which is the main branch, and our regional office is also there. Mahsana we have got, then Vadodara we have got, Ankleshwar we have got, Surat, since the potential or the growth that we are witnessing for the last 3 years, almost 80+% growth is happening over there. For us, everyone is witnessing same sort of growth, but for us also it's a phenomenon. So we have got 3 branches recently opened new 2 branches. We are there for the MSMEs. We try to see to it whatever the requirement is there. We have entered into many MOUs with industry associations also. The purpose of this MOU is to build the capacity of the industry association. We have provided them this manpower for a year. They will be sitting over there. Infrastructure wise, their table, chair, laptop, printer, projector, this has been financed by us. This is totally given into the industry association. That industry association will be, in turn, will be attending to the needs of the MSMEs in their association. So that whatever need the person that we have given in, that is meant for the association only. They will be sending this person to all the members whoever has the need and meeting their requirement. So these are the things that we are doing right now, and as far as even digitization, since we are moving so fast, we are not even asking our customers to come to our branch also for doing the documentation, security documentation. Earlier we used to call them, take printouts and all that, and then stamp paper, get signing and all that. Now we are asking you stay, remain wherever you are there. You are engaged in your business, you are engaged in some other occupancy, you remain there, but you will be sending you the link. You have to just accept that, and your signature will be there.
It is right, but you are right.
So, I think there is no doubt that SIDBI is a premier institution for financing of MSMEs in doing a human service, for sure. And you continue to lead in many areas, especially the new area that you have mentioned about helping industry associations. Those 60 industry associations have already been identified and they are being assisted, for sure. But maybe I'll also request for your remark, maybe take time to think about it. For example, tomorrow, I mean, some of the difficulties that have come, like the issue of trust and compressing the time it takes from agglomeration of the land to giving to the cities. So, do you see any possibility where the private person like Mr. associations like him, where they come together and say that, these many of our members are interested in requiring more space, and he's there to develop that space. Can SIDBI come in as a financier and maybe as an institution that can provide due diligence, so that a trust can be created in other people also to buy in? But hold your horses. I'll request maybe the question answers also.
Yeah.
I'll take your answer. But before that, sir, now you have been silently listening everybody. So finally I come to you. For the question answer. Now you have seen a lot of problems that have come up, and you also see that the roadblocks are there. What would you suggest to industry associations and MSMEs to solve these issues?
Well, we are not talking about land being the major constraint. And obviously, there's a discussion all around land in this 2025. It is all concerning land and the developments that can take place. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, how do we unlock fossilized lands? By that I mean, there are large parcels of land in the industrial estates, in the city itself, because of varying trends. Now we are seeing that Vatwa, for example, there are many industrial areas around Ahmedabad which have been asked to shift out, and in those areas there are many large parcels with the individual industry. I call them as dead spaces, wasted spaces. Those lands, if allowed to be converted into plug-and-play infrastructure, it will be benefiting in several ways. Number one, you will not have to pay extra for land. It can happen if you permit the current owner of the land to build infrastructure and common facilities and other things under the scheme of Government of India, which is MSME, cluster development program. Under MSME CDP itself, if you permit these private players within the, it will also give another major benefit, sir, which is to reduce the distance between the working place and the living place. You know, as you will know, after say decades, Government of India planners have suddenly realized that the transportation from residence to workplace takes anywhere from 1 to 3 hours per day for the workers. If somebody is living in, for example, in this area and then has to go to 30 or 40 kilometers distance, 3 to 4 hours is gone, which means he is completely devoid of enthusiasm and energy. It's a major headache, and that is why Government of India, Niti Aayog has come up with a proposal called safe accommodation, which is to reduce the distance between the two. It is also climate friendly. It is also carbon, maybe carbon neutral or low carbon, and it saves time for everybody. So my first submission, sir, to this panel and everybody else will be, how do we facilitate use of dead, unutilized and wasted parcels of land with the public sector and with the private sector. To just put the things on record, central government undertaking, CPACs as they are called, 5 years, and this is Government of India's own report. Now supposing the Government of India's undertakings are told that you can create these plug and play kind of facilities within their premises, you can imagine the impact that it will have. So that's my the first submission. Second submission is that probably the information on the government scheme has not passed on to investors.
Yes, yes.
There is 80% subsidy on things like common, other...
All common facilities.
All common facilities, 60, 70, 8%, up to something like 30 crores, 25 crores, depending on the scheme, is being given by the government. And you need to go, as Mr. Babuta said, government is becoming very transparent. So the whole thing is, the online. When you are coming up with a project, you are going to be logging on, and then you are saying that I am going to develop this for plug and play. The third important thing is that the plug and play concept has come up. Because, as Mr. Bharadwaj said, and as Mr. Vajubai said, that people have to invest money, and they have to waste a lot of time to get a place where they can work. With a plug and play, you can possibly go and start your work within 7 to 15 days or a month. So when you are having, for example, dormitory for living, you are having hotel user for living, in the very same fashion, or office for occupation, very same fashion, you will have a place where you can go and start the work in maybe 7 days or 15 days. After maybe 1 or 2 clearances, there could be a clearance like you are getting establishment registered or factory. Now that will not be done by the plug and play agglomerator. So that particular thing is not possible for the developer, but the rest of the things, you could have maybe a fluid treatment, pollution, maybe thing, you could have light, you could have maybe the water, every other facility is available. And it's a great, I would say, it's a great step taken by Government of India. Unfortunately, people are not aware, and that's where, sir, sensitization and awareness will be very important. Transparent mechanism has been worked out, that can be improved. But the land, again, I'm coming back, it is very easy to now find out parcels of land. They could be there within the cities because, Bharadwaj, now there are, you can say, decentralized, treatment plants, for ZAD, there are, maybe, there are players, there are technology providers who can say that not even 1 liter will go out, everything will be recycled, reused, and there could be absolutely green and clean infrastructure right here. And last but not the least, we have to understand that all the industries are not polluted. You look at electronics, you look at textiles, garmenting, you look at designing, you look at maybe many other services which are a part and parcel of MSME. As the Bharadwaj said, manufacturing is accounting for 30%, but 70% are service enterprises. So there can be suitable packaging of this, marketing of this, and it can be a great tool for the national development, which will be low carbon and clean. Land within the areas which are already developed means much lower infrastructure cost also. So we have to look at the things in totality, and the government, I would like to actually maybe thank the government that they have come up with these schemes. The only thing is we need to now take not advantage, but we have to make use of them and build business models and help people.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we are in the last leg of this present discussion, and I think I'd like to open it up for the question answer, comments, suggestions.
Give me 1 minute.
One
Actually, Lagudyo Bharti is working in all over India, in all the states, including Andaman and Nicobar. I have got 200 members in Andaman and Nicobar, sir. Also in Assam, I have got more than 500 members. हमने ये प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट, प्राइवेट पार्क ऑलरेडी डेवलप किया है. हमने जेआईडीसी के सामने कंपटीशन क्रिएट करनी चाहिए ताकि पीपल को जेआईडीसी में जाना या इधर जाना कोई भी वो चॉइस कर सकता है. वो लीज लैंड है, ये फ्री होल्ड है. फिर भी लोग वहाँ प्राइवेट में जाते नहीं. क्यों? सब्सिडी नहीं मिलती. कोई प्राइस में डिफरेंस नहीं है. कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस है कंप्लीटली. व्हाई पीपल आर नॉट गोइंग? Because government is not implementing their own scheme, which is already decided, which is already implemented. That is not done. Not this scheme. You give me any scheme. कोई अगर कहेगा कि मैंने ये स्कीम implement कर दिया है, तो मैं बोलो किसको किसको मिला है, मैं बोलो लिस्ट को. वो नहीं आता है.
ठीक है.
अगर लिस्ट आता है तो जिसको मिला है उसका ही नाम आता है.
ये रिकमेंडेशन जरूर करें.
That is a problem.
कुछ आप प्लीज थोड़ा इंट्रोड्यूस करके.
हाँ, मेरा फेलियर नहीं बोलूँगा लेकिन लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस है. 2013 में I came across government of Gujarat for MOU for developing hospitality cum food processing park very near to local. It is a scarce resource area. Right now I am struggling with the land laws, current land laws, and I haven't broken any laws, but it is just the attitude of the government members. And it is all documented, it is on paper. I have acquired 77 acres of land. I have get it and in the due course. There were certain, I have made one nicely food processing unit at Lothal for only Desi and indigenous cows' milks ghee. Now, my practical question is, I am 59, I have completed. My next generation want to travel this much. That is a practical thing. So I need to ship that plant here and to make milk more available here by transportation it can be. So I need some plug and play infrastructure. So I went to different GIDCs. And then Gandhinagar has Madhur. So I went there. What electronics estate as the definition? What is my discharge to the sewer, right? I will control that. But do I get the clearances? No. There are bigger players who are getting clearances. As I am a smaller player, I am not getting the clearances. This is the current day problem. I am still finding the solution. That is number one. Number two, why you are restricting 50 acres? One pani puli wala can make people sick because they are doing in gully and that mola and all. Why can't 5 acres plot for small plug and play infrastructure? I am ready to do. If government is helping me, as my experience of real estate developer, and I will lease it out. So their capex will be also less. But no practical solutions and much more hurdle to go with this kind of thing. And one of the unit is myself for my next generation. I am still having the problem. So my suggestion is why to restrict 50 acres?
Why to restrict any project commercial?
Why to restrict 50 acres for the food? Food is directly affecting GDP by making people sick. So I need 50 square meter plug and play infrastructure, and I can because of the technology I can have dairy unit in 100 square meter also. It's available and technology is there. See, organized player has only 18% of total market in dairy sector. I am among 82% segment.
Still, I am struggling because of the hurdles,
Not getting permission.
not getting permission. So what is the way out? I am currently doing.
And any other question?
क्लियर हो गया
Can वो इनका रिप्लाई ये दे सकेंगे विजय भाई इसी
नहीं नहीं मेरा
आपने देखा है, मेरा देखा है।
government I visited his site and had spent 2-3 hours over there. It's a beautiful place. In order to reply or make a little bit of clarification, government of Gujarat has this scheme, as I explained earlier, to create 50 to 100 square meter ready to use units, plug and play as we said. Point is, there are developers like Vijay Bhai and others.
There are 50 developers.
100 developers.
50.
Point is, can CIDBI go and register them as the authorized, registered developers, and they encourage the MSME unit पे आप इधर जाओ, whatever due diligence which is required, कि आपका title clear है, when will you give, like RERA, when will you give the possession, for example.
नहीं approved हुए 50 को approve हो गया.
Approved. I'm saying that all the approvals which are required, which is there with them, they put this up in outer area only, so they all are genuine developers and development has taken place within a stipulated time limit. I think the coordination between the funding agency like CIDBI, if the way you are doing it in Haryana, whether it could be extended to these plug and play units, that would give one immediate. I am talking to CIDBI and CIDBI gives me a list of authorized, the way their approved vendors, I would use the word, and they go straight. Now, whether the subsidy which is available to the developer, once develop in this scheme of plug and play units, developer will get initially 30% out of 55% when the scheme is completed. You take a completion certificate, government would release, should release. अभी वो रिलीज होता है या नहीं होता है वो अलग बात है. Rest of the 25% when a unit starts operating, they get. So that's where there could be some coordination between the funding agency, the developer, and the government, and certain ways to route the subsidy could be worked out.
ऐसा है कि कंक्लूड करने से पहले मैं आपको एक लाइन अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताऊं।
जी
कुछ साल कुछ बरस पहले, कोविड से पहले मुझे हम लोग चाइना के साथ काफी काम करते थे, तो मैं बहुत फ्रिक्वेंटली जाता रहा वहाँ। तो शंघाई से करीब 2 घंटे का रास्ता है, नैनटोंग का, उसके पास में मैंने प्लाग एंड प्ले इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देखा। मेरा देखने की बड़ी इच्छा थी, मैंने बहुत सुना है और वर्ल्ड बैंक की स्टडी में आया कि चाइना की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को बढ़ाने में जिस चीज का सबसे बड़ा हाथ रहा है वो प्लग एंड प्ले इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर।
बराबर।
ये बाकी लोग नहीं जानते।
राइट।
वो कहते हैं सब्सिडी दे रहा है, ये दे रहा है, सब्सिडी नहीं दिया, सब्सिडाइज स्पेस क्रिएट किया। सब्सिडाइज स्पेस क्रिएट किया, ऑलमोस्ट फ्री। उसका एग्जांपल मैं आपको लाइव बताता हूं। तो जब मैं वहां पहुंचा, और वो पहुंचा भी इसलिए था कि मुझे केरला में 2 लड़कियां मिली थी घूमते हुए जो चाइनीज थी, और वो उस एरिया की थी, और उन्होंने कहा कि हम एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, यहाँ पर तो हम घूमने के लिए आए हैं। और बाई द वे वो गुजरात के तट से लेके और पूरा इंडिया का चक्कर केरला से लगाते हुए उड़ीसा तक पूरी तक गई थी। ऐसा किया। खैर, कमिंग टू द पॉइंट, उन्होंने बताया कि वहाँ पर जो प्लग एंड प्ले इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उसमें शेड की एक लाइन है, उसके बीच में एक रोड है छोटी, दूसरी साइड में ऑफिसेस की लाइन है। ये सब के सब ऐसे हैं कि जो मॉड्यूलर है, यानी कि आप एक ले लीजिए, 2 को मिला के एक बना लीजिए, 4 बना लीजिए, 500 स्क्वायर मीटर के शेड बना दिए। और इस बड़े शेड के साथ में बड़ी रोड है जिसपे ट्रक चल सकते हैं। ये जो छोटी रोड थी ये इंटरकनेक्टेड है। तो ऑफिस आप ले लीजिए, 1 ऑफिस, 2 ऑफिस, 4 ऑफिस, आप वहाँ पर फोटोकॉपी मशीन और ऑफिस से रिलेटेड जितने चीजें वो हैं। ये लड़कियाँ 6 महीने के लिए एक शेड को किराए पे लेती थी। NSIC जैसी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वहाँ की लोकल गवर्नमेंट की थी जो किराए पर मशीन देती है। तो फूड प्रोसेसिंग जो लोग जानते हैं कि 4-5 बेसिक मशीन होती है फूड प्रोसेसिंग, तो वो मशीन वो किराए पे लेती थी 6 महीने के लिए, तो 6 महीने के लिए उन्होंने शेड किराए पे लिया, 6 महीने के लिए मशीन किराए पे लिया। वो एक जो सीजनल फ्रूट था उसको प्रोसेस करती थी, जो लगभग 5-6 महीने आता है, उस दौरान उसको प्रोसेस किया। और वेयर हाउसेज हैं जो गवर्नमेंट के हैं, चाइना के इकोनॉमी को समझ ही देखिए आप, जमीन हो गई, वो मशीन भी हो गई, फिर उसके बाद में वो वेयर हाउसेज भी हैं जो सस्ते किराए पर वो वेयर हाउस को हायर करती थी 4 महीने के लिए, और फिर नेक्स्ट 4 मंथ्स में जो उन्होंने स्टोर किया उसको वो मार्केट करती थी, बेचती थी, और 2 महीने के लिए बाकी सारी दुनिया घूमती थी। उनका कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट जीरो था, जीरो। तो एक्चुअली कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस कैसे बनाए मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को, बहुत सीखने की जरूरत है, उसमें इसका बहुत बड़ा हाथ है। इस बात को भी समझ नहीं रहे कि एक्सेस टू लैंड, कॉम्पिटिटिवली प्राइस लैंड का कितना बड़ा हाथ हो सकता है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को कॉम्पिटिटिव बनाने में। तो आई थिंक इस पॉजिटिव थॉट के साथ हम लोग इसको समाप्त करते हैं कि ऐसे कुछ एग्जांपल्स हम अपने आप ही क्रिएट करेंगे, और गुजरात से बढ़िया कोई जगह हो नहीं सकती। आपने ऑलरेडी बहुत काम किया हुआ है, आई थिंक इसे और थोड़ा सा एक जैसे कि नेक्स्ट ऑर्बिट में ले जाने की जरूरत है।
नहीं, मेरे दूसरे स्टेट में है सर, इसलिए मेरे दूसरे स्टेट में है।
जैसा मैंने बताया चाइना वाला ये मॉडल था,
इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क
हो सकता है।
और अभी रेसिडेंट में जो एफोर्डेबल जोन में गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडी जो देती है वो इंडस्ट्री में नहीं है।
तो इसके साथ आज हम कंक्लूड करते हैं कि
ठीक है।
कुछ लास्ट पॉइंट आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे सुरेश जी?
Any point, last point, one
फाइनल कमेंट?
Sir, I think we have fairly summarized and discussed that we have to, the only idea is that if we have to take it forward to the government also needs to have that trust with the private